Thank you so much for tuning in to DCRE TV. We have a great interview for you today. Ladies and gentlemen, do I have an amazing interview for you today? I have none other than Carl Boswell, a son of Pennsylvania, one of PA's finest, a graduate of Penn State University, as well as Georgetown University, an alum of Bloomberg, and currently a director at National Real Estate Advisors based in DC. Ladies and gentlemen, clap it up. Let's give it up for Carl Boswell.
Appreciate you, Miles. Thanks for having me here.
No problem, no problem. Carl, so I appreciate you joining me today. Thanks a lot for taking the trip up to Philly to do this interview with me. I always like to start this interview with what I call the roots. So just want to take you back, or take me back to, where your family's from. We can start in the motherland, we can start in the South, we can start in DC, wherever you want to take me.
Sure, absolutely. So I appreciate the question, and I'm happy to be here, by the way. I just want to note that it's always good to be back in Philly. I say I'm a son of Philly, or for those in Philly, I'm a son of the suburbs of Philly. So that's a very important distinction. Came from Westchester. But really going back, it's funny, and for many of us, it's no different. The records got mixed up along the way somewhere. But I can tell you, going back as far as my grandparents' parents, both groups of my family, both dad and mom side, came up from North Carolina. So kind of part of that migration, 1900s, mid-1900s, 1950s, made their way up to Pennsylvania, and we've been here ever since. So
Okay.
it's been a fun time. Grew up in Chester County, had a great time.
Yeah.
Suburban, middle class.
Yeah.
Intergenerational household, had my grandmother there, my mom,
Okay.
and that was great and foundational alongside my 3 siblings.
Awesome, awesome. So you got some roots down in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I've been down in North Carolina a few times myself, graduate from A&T, so really familiar. Okay, Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.
Okay, yeah, glad you were from the Philly area. So tell me about, break that down as far as your family dynamic. What was it growing up like in the Boswell household?
Yeah, sure. It's a good question. It was awesome, right? Education was paramount, right? So it's achieving excellence, but excellence on your own race. Okay, so it's not being compared to my siblings, my brother, my sister, and that was something that was big. Sports were big in our family. Ultimately, what it was though is it was a great, essentially single parent household, but I pretty much had 2 moms, my grandmother and my mom. Mom was a nurse. My grandmother was a pensioner. She worked for the airlines for a while, and both intelligent, smart women, and it was honestly an honor to be raised by them. So with that, it was making sure I succeeded. My whole thing, and there's a little quote I like, is we stand on the shoulders of giants. And so when people look at where I've made it, where I currently am, I'm still rising, I'm still doing my thing, but I didn't start from zero. And so that dynamic was very important, and that's something that was really, kind of taken in all throughout our childhood for all my siblings, and they've all done well in their own rights.
All right, so you talking about your siblings. Tell me about them. How many of them were there, and were you guys and gals cordial or butt heads?
It's always funny when you got your siblings, right? Like everybody, especially when you meet them now. I'm a professional, I'm in my 30s. I get to them, I'm back to like 15 years old again,
Right.
For better, for worse. So I have my oldest brother, Marcus, so he's 10 years older. And then I have a sister that's about 15 months older. And then my twin brother. So we're just kind of, my mom and dad did differently. They're like, all right. And same parents. They're like, boom, and here's 3. I was like, damn, good on you. Like you guys were almost through, right? You had to do elementary school, that stuff. And so growing up, that was the household. So it was 4 of us in the household. I was closest with my twin brother and my sister, just due to the fact that, we're so close in age, right? That kind of 15 months separates us, or 8 minutes for my brother and me. Right. And for them, that was something that was big. We were tight. That was my best friend, my brother, and still is one of my best friends. He actually moved back down to North Carolina, so he's in Raleigh.
Oh, okay. And when we're talking about twin, we're talking about like identical?
Fraternal. So it's funny. So I've got about 3 inches on him, and he's got about 40 pounds of me. He's like a running back build. He works out all the time, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
So completely different, but very similar at the same time.
Yeah, very different. It's but similar too. So case in point, we took the SAT same time, right? Same grade, kind of go to school. He actually went to HBCU as well. Yeah, he didn't go to A&T. He went to FAMU down in
shout out to FAM. Okay.
but we got essentially the same exact SAT score, just flipped. So if we had put together, we had a combined score. So his math was off the charts. My writing and kind of English was off the charts. So that's kind of how it worked out.
Wow, man, that's crazy. Okay, so then talk to me about school, SATs, high school. What kind of student were you?
Yeah. So great question. So I took school pretty seriously in high school. I think I ramped it up in college. So I'd say there were about 350 kids in my school, or I should say my grade in high school. And I was probably like number like 90 or something like that. I was doing all right, but I was like, all right, like kind of just chugging along. I didn't find that activity that I enjoyed, at least within school. I had the extracurriculars. I ran track and all that stuff. But I did all right. Had A's, had a, kind of unweighted, probably about a 3.6 GPA. Ended up going to Penn State. That wasn't my first choice actually until it became my first choice. Both my parents went to Vanderbilt, so I was looking down at Vandy. I got in. I was excited about going there, and then Penn State came through, and they also were going to offer me scholarship to take care of everything. And I was like, all right, well, I'm going here. So
Wow.
so that really helped, right? And that helped the family too with that dynamic too. And that's something we have to talk about is how do you make it to that next level? And some of that, there's a lot of friction. A lot of that's financial. And it's a knowledge thing. I was fortunate that both my parents were college educated individuals and we knew what that process would be. But at the same time, we knew that there were three of us who were going to be in school at the same time and resources were tight. So
Sure.
that was going to be on us. So I made that decision.
Cool. And then first day at Penn State, what was that like?
First day at Penn State, it was awesome, right?
Okay.
So even when I remember touring Penn State, it was everything you can imagine. You got the stadium there; it's 108,000 people, one of the largest in the country, and then you also have the library, which is cool. So it's pretty interesting because you get to the point where your parents drive away, right, or whoever brought you up there, and then you stop, you take a look, you realize that you kind of on your own. You're going to be here where people are going to be there for the rest of your lives, right? So I have some great lifelong friends. It was great. Went in undecided, and then I thought I was going to go down the pre-law route. Decided that wasn't for me. But along the way, I found that I really enjoyed political science. So I did international politics and focused on econ.
Okay.
So yeah, while at Penn State, I got my undergraduate degree and my master's degree. Because I realized that I was going to be finished, got my undergraduate degree at 3 years, so a year early. But my scholarship was for 4 years, and I want to leave school early, right? This is my thought process. I was like, all right, well, what can I do? All right, well, I could double major or I could just go for the master's. So I got the master's in international affairs as well. And that served me well. So that was with the focus in econ.
Wow, man, that's crazy. So that was a lot. Okay, so Penn State, you got an undergraduate degree and a master's degree. Okay. Now you said you ran track in high school. Did you do the same thing at Penn State?
No, it wasn't good
Okay.
enough. No.
Oh,
I ran track and my brother actually did field, so he threw.
okay.
And I enjoyed it in high school, but I knew I wanted to focus on academics. That was really the big thing was going to that next level. It's going to be an academics focus. My brother, same thing. He got a scholarship and at FAMU, and his job was focused on academics. So that was our job.
Okay.
And we took it very seriously, right? It was kind of a work hard, play hard mentality and then get it done.
And when you were at Penn State, you were on campus.
I was on campus for the first year and then made my way off for the last 3
What
years.
dorm were you in on campus at Penn State? Is there
Let's see. So I was with the Buddenwallers. I'm blanking on the dorm. I can tell you exactly what it was. I can tell you what floor it was. The name escapes me.
No, like, I'm sure. Look, people can go back to remember, their first or freshman year, what dorm they stayed at, the experience. It's very an enriching experience for young kids coming out of, high school into college. So I always ask people like, what dorm did they stay in? What about Penn State in your freshman, sophomore, junior year was like super memorable to you? Were you a part of any organizations, clubs,
Yeah.
competitions?
Yeah. So the football games were great. I enjoyed that. In terms of extracurriculars, I was also part of a leadership academy, Presidential Leadership Academy or PLA while I was there. Okay. That was fun. So essentially it was a bunch of driven individuals who wanted to learn more about how to become better leaders as they're growing throughout their time during their undergrad. And there are about 25 individuals to 30 individuals in each entry class. And so you enter in after going through a rigorous process during your freshman year, including panel interviews. And then you're on there, you go on trips and you meet different key individuals, not just learning from professors, but we had trips all around the country as well, which was paid for by the university and from some generous donors. So that was very cool. And on the other side of it, I was actually a tour guide. So I do the whole walk backward, try not to trip on anything. And I would just point out some key things about the university, which I thought were very interesting, and it helped me. You get some crazy questions. You have to answer some interesting pieces, and that was fun for me. And so that was a group as well that I was pretty big with, and that was the Lion Ambassadors.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And the football games, how are those?
They were great when you won. I'm not good when you didn't win either, right? So tailgating the football, it's all part of a day-long process. So Saturdays are big. And for many who don't know this, I think many do actually in Pennsylvania especially, but you obviously have Philly, right?
Right.
Have Pittsburgh. And then the third largest city on game day is going to be right there in State College, Pennsylvania, this sleepy little town that really kind of explodes. And that's what's going to happen when you have 108,000 people all cramming into a little place to watch football. And then you have all the people who didn't make it into the game, right? Who were all at the bars or wherever hanging out. So it was a crazy experience.
Okay.
And I really loved it. And I enjoyed my time at Penn State. And then I also was able to venture out, and I studied abroad while I was at Penn State too, down in South America and Argentina. And that was a great experience as well. So at Penn State afforded me a lot and allowed me to really grow up a good amount. I'm not saying I'm still grown. I still had to have my fun and hang out, but I really enjoyed my time there.
Okay. All right. Well, look, if you ever go into a Penn State game, give me a call. I've been watching Penn State football since the Joe P days, I mean,
Those games.
you grew up watching that, especially you grew up in this area. And man, I remember I watch out the whiteout games and the whole stadium be packed.
Nittany Lions entrance just moments away now. Talks about the 8 seconds he spends feeling the energy, holding his players back before they make this entrance.
So I was always like, I would love to go to a Penn State game. I just never had a chance. And it's weird because my little brother went to Penn State.
Oh, really?
He was, but he ran track there. So for whatever reason, we just never went to a football game. So it's on my bucket list.
Okay.
If you're going, let me know. I'm joining you, man. I got to see a Penn State game in the flesh.
Noted. All right, you gotta do it. You want to do. Call me brother. I'm like, come on, man.
I know, man. I know. Okay, so Penn State, and you got your graduate degree there as well.
Yes, sir.
And then did you do anything special with the grad degree? Like, what were you studying?
So I studied international politics for my undergrad, and international affairs was also a master's degree. You could just take it further.
Okay.
I'd say the specialization was econometrics and economy. So we really went heavy into like using this data and kind of going regression analysis, all things I wasn't good at in high school, actually. So I got really well acquainted with that library, and it's good. You need to shore up some of your weaker points.
Oh, yeah, in the library all day, every day, when it's called for. Okay, so then let's go to career. So what was the first job coming out of school? Was it associated with the international affairs?
Yeah, so as you don't know this yet, so this is a fun fact. This no one really knows this it's not online. LinkedIn doesn't have that. I was a UPS package handler.
Say what?
I going down, right? I'm an undergraduate degree, my master's degree, knock it out in 4.5 semester, 4.5 years.
Okay.
And then I graduate, and it's the winter of 2014. And I'm at home, I'm interviewing for different jobs. And I was like, I'm back home with moms. I'm hanging out, eating good cooking and all stuff. I'm like, all right, I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, what allows me to interview during the day and also study it for whatever I need to study for. And there was a few different things I was looking at, just making sure I was staying up and up. And I was interested in the financial industry. So I was, all right, let me start studying for my CFA, right?
Sure.
And that night, so essentially there's this package handler job. You can go into the facility. Every area has their UPS facility where all the 18-wheelers come in,
Right.
open up their doors and unload all their boxes, right? And this is like right during the holiday season. This is like honey baked ham, all the good stuff. I was all right, let me do this.
Okay.
And so I joined it. So I would wake up at like 3 a.m. and shift would start like 3:30 and shift would be done about 7:30. So it'd be 4 hours of just honestly lifting up heavy boxes out of 18-wheelers, taking them out. And that's what I had, right? And during that time I interviewed and got the gig with Bloomberg, and UPS actually did want to extend me for full time. I was a seasonal worker. They said, "We like you, Carl.
Right.
You can come back with us in the spring." I was like, "Actually, I'm sorry. Like I'm not gonna run, but I want to be a data analyst, man." But it was great, honestly. And those are the type of jobs that I think every individual should have at some point in time in their life. Typically, it comes a little bit earlier, but it's a different type of work and mentality, right? And my job is so much easier, even my worst days,
Right.
because a lot of it's just on the mental tax, but
Right.
it's not the physical.
Right. So, wow, man, that's cool. Well, shout out to UPS.
Yeah, right. Great. Packages on time, right? At least when I was there, I don't know now. But it was good.
All right. So after UPS, you said Bloomberg was the next
Bloomberg.
job.
So
Okay.
yeah, let's start. So what's on the LinkedIn? So Bloomberg. So I got the job with Bloomberg. So Bloomberg has had and still does, I believe, entry classes of data analysts. And so I was a data analyst. Entry class is about 25. They have a campus in central Jersey. And so I was there with 25 individuals who had also just graduated from undergrad or graduate schools. And we started in January of 2013. And so you kind of go through the ropes with them. I ended up on one of the data teams, kind of supporting a lot of the analytics that come on those Bloomberg terminals. So for many of you, you've seen, The Big Short, any of those financial movies, they have those keyboards that have all the colors, right?
Yeah.
And so we're the basis behind those keyboards. And so I was making sure that the mutual funds and hedge fund data was updated on the terminal. So I'd be reaching out to contacts within the industry and also doing some analysis on the back end to see what insights we could pull to help our Bloomberg reporters discuss what ETF went off and why and what's the undercurrent there. So it was exciting. That was the first 2 years before I moved up to Boston and joined Wellington Management.
Wow.
There.
So you're like the behind the scenes guys for Bloomberg.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Giving all the data and all the intel and collecting whatever they needed the spur of the moment. I can imagine that was stressful.
Yes. Yeah. And because they're honest. Yeah, absolutely. And then part of that job also, of course, is taking, client calls and reach outs. And you might have a trader that's coming up and saying, "Hey, I need to confirm this price. This is looking off. Like, what's quotes?" And we're kind of working with the exchanges as well. So there are some times that there were some serious time crunches as well.
Right.
And you might be juggling multiple different conversations at the same time.
Okay.
Loved it. It was a great experience and actually informs a lot of what I do now in my client services and investor relations and capital raising role. Right.
True.
I find sometimes our first jobs, once again, are sometimes the most difficult.
Yeah. So then you move. Okay. That was in Jersey.
I was in Jersey.
And then you moved to Boston.
I moved to Boston for a girl.
Say what now? What now?
Yeah. That's how it goes, right?
Let's start. We're getting to the juicy part.
What? All right.
All right. So what happened with that?
Well, she's my wife now, so we're
Okay.
clapping that down here.
Good bet, man. Good bet.
So it worked out well. And so ultimately, I met this amazing, awesome woman at Penn State, and so we stayed together throughout Penn State, and then even after. So she was a year older than me. So she left Penn State a little bit earlier. Ended up in Providence, Rhode Island, up in New England. I was looking for a job. I was looking for jobs and ended up in Bloomberg couldn't pass up that opportunity. And so we did long distance for a while. But when I proposed, it was time for me to make my way up. And I knew Boston had some good opportunities up there in the financial space as well.
And
I love New York, but I wanted to experience some time up in Boston.
Okay.
So I would do the commute from Providence, Rhode Island up to Boston every day, but she had her job in Boston.
How long of a commute was that?
About an hour and 45 minutes one way. Yeah, door to door.
Okay, so you've had some commute experiences as well.
It was real. Yeah. But it was good, right? Because it's all about taking advantage of what you have. So I had over 3 hours every day, and what I do with it, I studied for the CFA. And then I realized the CFA wasn't for me. And then I was like, you know what? This whole thing is great. I love real assets. I started learning a little bit more about real estate and gold and some of the different economics in there. But I also was learning about like Black-Scholes models and looking at pricing for options.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not about this life. Right. This is not something that's interesting to me. It was to some of my colleagues.
Yep.
So with that, I started studying for the Chartered Alternative Investment Analyst.
Okay.
So I got my Kaya certification and realized I wanted to go into real estate with the next role after Wellington Management. Also, while I was at Wellington up in Boston, Wellington Management was a great shop that I worked with up there for a couple of years. And I worked alongside the CMBS teams. And so I was looking at collateralized mortgage obligations and on the back end, helping kind of reconcile some of our data there too, still on the data side of it, not on the front end, on the trading side. But I loved it. I was like, these are so interesting. We'd have these OMs coming through for these huge developments, and to see something come from nothing to something, I think many in the real estate space, they have that same kind of if there's tangible, something tangible about it, where you don't find that with a basket of swaps, for example, right? So
Like, no offense,
like just reality, like different things.
just not for us, right?
Yeah.
Different strokes for different folks. Okay, so all right, so then you worked at Wellington, and then you're in Rhode Island. So what happened after that? Were you moving to DC for an opportunity, or did you continue with Wellington and elsewhere?
Yeah. So previously, I think our jobs had dictated where our location would be when we first left school, right? And my wife moving up to Providence and me moving to New Jersey. Then we started looking, all right, what do we want long term? Where do we want to be? And we loved Philly. We also love DC. So we wanted to move to DC. We're like, we want to experience that. And we think that's where we want to raise a family. It's close enough to home, but not in the backyard. And I mean, like, we can't, mom, dad aren't popping in or whatever, but you still have that support and you have a great environment around there. So we moved down to DC. We were looking for roles.
Is your wife from PA?
She is, yeah. She's from Downingtown. She's real close to me.
Okay. And you guys didn't want to come to Philly?
No. It's too close. What's too close? It's too close to the backyard, right? We loved it.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, it's cool. It's funny. Well, now I come back, but I came up here today and I'm like, man, all right, I'm going to hit this spot. I need to go to steak. I need to go to ring tournament, right? I got all these things I want to do. So
Yeah,
we certainly miss it, but I think we were both raised with the idea of the world. It's a big world out there.
for sure.
And that's, none of my siblings and none of her siblings are still where we grew up. And that's, many miles away. So that was something that was big for us and something that we kind of internalized growing up, both of us.
And so you wanted to move into the DMV area?
Yes.
Okay. Any reason in particular? I mean, I know, but let's share with the audience.
I mean, the Smithsonian's got, they don't have pandas now, but yeah, the pandas at the zoo. Right. China kicked them back, unfortunately. But hopefully that'll come back. But no, it was great. You have such a great environment, just like Philadelphia has many of its draws. So does DC, especially for young Black professionals that are working, and for anyone else as well. And so we wanted to experience that. I had family that was down in DC as well, some cousins and an uncle and aunt. And I knew that was a place that I was interested in, at least for a short amount of time. Didn't know we were going to stay and plant the flag there, and we have so far.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. As one of the best places for young Black professionals and everyone else. And then to your point earlier, Philly, DC, they're like 2 hours away from each other via train or driving. So it's really, really close. You can get here in a split second, no problem. So the proximity to your hometown, as well as the professional development, in your career, there's no better place than DC. So I appreciate that insight, man.
Let's say Wawa, by the way, too. I was like, they got Wawa. They got Wawa.
They got Wawa.
Okay. I had Wawa up in Boston. I was like, man, I don't know about this.
Right. Yeah. No, that's cool, man. Yeah. Wawa. Gotta love Wawa. Shout out to Wawa, by the way. Wawa, give us a sponsorship. We're shouting you out. Give us a sponsorship, Wawa. Career-wise, so you all came down to DC. Did you have a job lined up already, or how was that process?
Yeah, so I had a job lined up. So we were both searching for jobs down in DC. I got a job lined up at a great firm, and this firm I currently work at, I've been there for 5 years. National Real Estate Advisors, you noted earlier. Yeah, great group of individuals down there. They also have the office here in Philly too, so I get to come out to the office up here when I'm visiting family here during Christmas time and what.
Okay.
But yeah, started looking, got a great role, and it was in client service, kind of making my way into the real estate. That was really my first time dipping my toe in the true real estate world. I was doing the CMBS and some of the other things on the other end, but it was still more the public financial markets, not the private real estate markets.
Right.
And so they gave me a shot, and I was grateful for it, and I've loved it ever since.
Now, how did you get onto this team? Was it just a matter of applying online, or did you have to go do some backdoor workings?
Yeah, it was applying online. Really, it was a big one. Yeah, it was one of those where you never know, and that's how we're like, now what? I'm like, are you sure? Or was this a joke? And so, they'd been looking for the right individual with the right skill sets, and it worked out well where I had the interest in client services. I had some of that background as well. I also had the data background, which was very important. So looking through the portfolio. And so what I was doing was, when I first started, I was between the portfolio and asset management teams and the investor relations team, and then kind of syncing those two together and making sure that we have the right information presented to our clients. Because you, of course, want to be transparent, you want to be accurate, and you want to be quick with your information, as quick as possible. And so that was something important, making sure the back end was right. So we say, all right, like anything from what is our AUM, right? Basic assets under management, boom, to, all right, let's look at where are we going with debt within the portfolio, where are we having some issues, what's our underlying exposure. And so that was something that was very fun working with those. That wasn't all on me, but I got to work with, within a symbiotic relationship with all these different groups and around some smart people too. So
Right.
I've been fortunate.
All right, so now you're at National Real Estate Advisors, a huge company. You also mentioned that they have an office here in Philadelphia. They're doing huge things on Market Street East. Huge project, really setting the tone over there. I love it. I pass there all the time. I'm like, oh man, finally somebody made this a thing. And so talk about your current role. What are you doing at National Real Estate Advisors that you haven't mentioned already?
Sure. So I spoke about that first role that I landed at National, and then kind of making the way up through the ranks there for the last couple of years. I was really in the client service side, which is, I think it's always important, right? So someone very early in my career at Bloomberg said, you should treat your money like it's grandmother's money. So whoever that asset manager is, it's very important to treat it like such.
Okay.
And so that was important. So make sure your existing investors are taken care of. Like that's just that's not just a firm, that's a firm-wide thing. That's a industry-wide thing. And so that's bottom line. And then, so what am I doing now? It's also looking in, and I started flexing those muscles of prospecting and looking at new capital as well. So capital raising and investor relations. Every shop does it differently, right? At our shop, we're just big enough, but just small enough that we have those roles are under one hat for each individual. So I have it for what I'm doing, which is I'm taking care of our existing investors, and then also looking at new capital as well. And I do that for our data center product. So that's kind of that background. We also run the gamut with a bunch of the major food groups, such as East Market that we have here in
Right.
Philly as well, where that's going to be, you have the hotel and you have the office space and all that. And it's a good spot over there, but it's fun. And that's comes back to, it's real estate. It's tangible. There's all these firms, and we have competitors in the space, of course, right? They're doing great stuff as well. It's all about what you're doing with the real estate and bringing the individuals together, right? So you're making it a place where people want to work, live, play.
Right.
If you can achieve that, then you're halfway to your goal.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Where in this whole timeline did you go to grad school at Georgetown?
Yeah. So went to grad school at Georgetown while I was working. So I think many working individuals in their early to mid 20s and even later have this decision point where they say, do I want to go get my MBA or go get my master's degree, go and do it, right? Where it'd be a 1 or 2 year degree, or I want to do it part-time. And there's an opportunity cost, right? When I first went to Penn State, one of the things was, and you asked me how I thought about it, I loved it. But I also looked at that room when I was sharing with some guy, right? I was like, man, you and I, we are in 400 square feet. Now it's about 300 actually. This is it. Right. There's a little bit of lifestyle inflation that's happened between then and now. Right. So it's all right, I have to, I gotta get the bills paid. So I wanted to go and do part-time. So I went to Georgetown, didn't do the MBA program. They actually have an interesting and great program that's for working professionals, and it's continuing education. So out of their school of continuing studies, and it's specifically for real estate. So that was about a 2.5 year program that I went through and absolutely loved it. So
How did you juggle family, school, work?
it was during COVID. So a lot of other stuff kind of cut down, but it was tough. There was still some late nights, and my wife was going to work going to school and work at the same time as well. So we both said, it's COVID. What are we going to do? Do you want to sit at home and watch Bridgerton, right? Or do we want to go? And we did both, right? But basically, right, let's check out this. But we took it very seriously. So it's kind of like that work hard, play hard.
You want something, go get it. Period.
All right, well, we want to continue, and we want to continue to embrace education. And that was important for both her and me growing up, right? My mom had multiple master's degrees. Her parents have degrees outside of just their undergrad. So education was big. We were taught that was the way up and way out, and how to stay out too, right? Hopefully we'll teach that to our kids as well. For us, they do not have to go to, a certified 4-year program, but we want them to at least consider how they're flexing their mind and using their mind as a muscle.
So let's go into family. You just talked about kids and your wife and, education being important. Talk about the family. Who's the lovely lady? that you've known for so long?
My partner in crime, or partner in life, is my wife Kira. She's awesome. We're going to be celebrating 6 years in April. So we got married in April Fool's Day, which is very fitting for us. So we're like, you know what, we want this. And it also makes it very easy to remember the anniversary will be like, well, right. So yeah, we've been together since school, since Penn State. And she's grown and flexed in her career and personally as well. And so it's cool to see that. And then for us as a unit, our family just got bigger. So we were a family of 2 with an awesome dog. We were doing the double income, no kids, millennial life, right? With a dog. So it's like Dink Wag or something. What did Dink Wag?
Dink Wag. Okay. Okay.
So we welcomed our son, so our firstborn, in December. So Oliver came into the fold, and he's gonna be career on delay. He says, "Hey, Kurt, it's absolutely awesome." So she's holding down the fort right now at home. Then I'm gonna scurry back and make sure she's good to go.
Okay.
And he's great. He's an awesome little guy.
Oliver.
Oh
man, you give him a strong name. Okay.
Got to, right?
Oliver Boswell. What's the middle name? There got to be a middle name there.
Fitz. So Fitzpatrick is so we wanted to put a family name in there as well, and that's her dad's middle name.
Awesome, man.
Whew. Yeah, so Oliver Fitz hanging out.
He's like I say,
he's an awesome kid.
So then, and then let's talk about family when it comes to how are your brother and sisters doing now? They, is everybody doing their thing? I imagine.
Yeah, it's always great, right? So it's so funny when you see, because everyone, it's kind of like a science experiment, right? It's not quite a petri dish. I won't say everyone. Yeah, it's like something else, like a chia pet. You're trying to let it grow and put the seeds in, all that stuff. Your hair comes out. So for my family, so the siblings, my siblings are doing great. So I have the 3 siblings who I grew up with. Marcus is oldest. He's 10 years older. He was the one who was always most likely to get in trouble or figure things out, right? Smartest of all of us by far.
Yeah.
And I looked at him just from pure brains and wattage, and he taught me a lot of life lessons. I have my sister. She's gone pretty far as well. She actually just graduated with her doctorate in nursing. She's a doctorate nurse practitioner. Followed in my mom's footsteps. Crazy proud of her. And so she's a nurse holding it down. So whenever I have a question, particularly about Oliver or anything, hey, sis, right. And it's funny, I'm the finance guy. So whenever anyone has a question about IRAs, right, RBs, any of that stuff, I love financial literacy. We can get into that later. They'll call me. And then my twin brother, he's an engineer. So completely different side of his brain he's using for his day-to-day. Super smart. He's working with some really cool stuff on, like either whether it be remote control devices. He works at a Fortune 500 company doing his thing on the R&D side. So I reach out to him when I want to, get like a hand created in like some built out lab, and it's where I can crawl and stuff. He's doing some cool stuff.
Oh my God, that's amazing, man. No, education is key, and it sounds like your family really took it upon themselves to fulfill whatever destiny they have for themselves, and obviously they're doing that. So that's amazing, man. So let's talk about D&I. D&I in the commercial real estate space. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing this whole entire platform.
100%.
What do you think about D&I in the space? Has it lived up to its potential that was projected years, or said that was going to be the standard that was being held to years ago, or
What an open-ended question.
Yeah, no, like what are your thoughts, man? Let's dive into it. Let's dive into it.
Yeah, so D&I in the commercial real estate space. So I always say this, I kind of say tongue-in-cheek, commercial real estate's interesting, right? It's at the junction of real estate and finance.
Yes.
Which is not traditionally diverse, right? At least not historically. Have we made strides to improve that? I believe many of the firms within the industry have made significant strides. There's still ways to go, right? We have room to run on this, but I do applaud many groups for trying to bring in more diversity of thought, not just skin color. It's not just hair color, eye color. Sometimes you look at some of these firms, and you may not see all the diversity there, right? There's always going to be diversity around all these different firms, but what real estate's been known for is, nepotism and some other things coming through too, where people might come in through that door. And I understand that. I would do anything to help out my family and my friends as well. Right. But I think we are seeing more concerted efforts, a good way to go. So I'll put it that way. I will say, I look at this industry as like a tree, right? So you'll see any of those efforts, a lot of, even at my firm, a lot of great work's been done in the last few years since I've been there. A lot of great work, a lot of diverse talent at the analyst level, at the associate level. When you go into the investment committee meetings and you go into management committee meetings at many of these different firms around, you might not see all that yet, right? So it's making its way up. So the tree is taking in that water and it's going to get to those leaves, but it's going to take a little bit of time.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah.
Hopefully sooner rather than later, right? And there's individuals like us who are kind of coming towards the middle arc of our career where we can help, and we have to make sure that door is open for someone to come up that ladder too.
Yeah.
But we're also looking for others to help us up.
Okay. So you're vouching for a national real estate advisor.
They've been doing some great work
doing good
recently,
work.
and
Okay.
and they, I've really appreciated the work they put in. There's still room to go. I'm not gonna let them off the hook. Yeah, but there's room to go anywhere, and room to run. So, but they've really done some great work around it.
Great. No, that's one reason why I want to have you on here, and as others as well, because I want to, have a platform that we have people like yourself giving your experiences, as well as talking about the companies you work at and letting people know, hey, this is a good shop to be at. Either apply or look into or follow up or whatever the case may be. This is a company that fosters D&I.
Yeah, I will say I was fortunate enough to work at companies where I had mentors and I had stakeholders who were interested in my investment. And every one of my firms, whether it be at Bloomberg right out of school,
Okay.
Wellington Management when I was up in Boston, and especially here now as well. And I think that's important. Sometimes those individuals, those stakeholders won't look like you. At least, especially at this, way when we spoke about those leaves, right?
For sure.
That's important. And so you can look and you can say, hey, is this group diverse? But many times it's those individuals who don't look like you who are helping foster that diversity and bringing that growth.
Yeah.
And so I hope to see more of that. We need to see more of that. But I've also had those conversations where we don't see that all across the industry. And so we need to acknowledge that and we need to make sure that it comes out to the surface. I think we're doing something like that here today.
Okay, cool. No, appreciate that, man. Yes, we are doing that here today on Diversity CRE platform. Yeah, DCRE TV. We're starting something special, man. So, what's your favorite color? A softball.
Green.
Green?
Yeah.
Okay, you're a green guy. Okay, money.
All right, what's your favorite car? Favorite car, Honda Accord Sport. It's my first car I bought. I drive. Why? What? Said a Honda. I said it quick too, didn't I? It was my first car that was mine. Right? I remember I had the job offer in hand from Bloomberg, and I was like, all right, it's time to have a car to go to work because I'm in central New Jersey.
Right.
And that was mine, and that was something that was extremely important to me. So everyone's out there and they drive their different things. I'm not a huge car guy, right? I love experiences and different things, and that's everyone. Good for whoever wants what they want. But that Honda Accord, I loved it.
Hey, I'm not laughing at it. I mean, I never heard that before, but I'll take that.
Loved it.
It's your favorite car. Favorite song?
Favorite song? Ooh, right above it. So right above it, Drake, Lil Wayne. All right, it takes me back to college, right? When I was kind of going through that metamorphosis, right? So freshman year, kind of figuring that out. And I would be in my zone there. Talk about going to the library and being there. I'd be sitting there just cranking that in my earbuds.
Okay. Favorite place of vacation?
All the places I haven't been yet. Right. So my wife loves Greece. She went to Greece for the first time on a girls' trip, and she would love to take me back and show me the place, particularly Santorini. So I'm gonna say that'll be my favorite place because that's my wife's favorite place, and that's where I want to go with her.
Okay. Then. Do you have like a favorite book or anything like that?
Books are important, yeah. So flex those muscles, absolutely. Favorite book, and this is one I give out at college graduations and high school graduations, is Set for Life. So I'm big into financial literacy and figuring out how you can create that generational wealth. In this book, that's just one of those written by Scott Trench, and it's something that I really enjoy. So it talks about how you go from zero to your first 100,000, and then once you get there, what do you do next? And what do you next? And do you invest in that 401k or why not? How much do you put in? How do you make things automated so it's easier? Wow, it's a great book.
What's that book called again?
It's called Set for Life. Highly recommend. Okay, absolutely. Yep. That's good.
All right, then. Talk about favorite food.
Favorite food. So I talked about being back in Philly, right? So I'm from Philly area. Reading Terminal is awesome, right? So I love the Amish markets. And so I'll just say that's kind of the smell, the waft. So I won't just say food, I'll say an experience.
Right.
So going through, there's also this place, it's has Amish markets as well. It's called Booth's Corner. I don't know if it's kind of going down towards Delaware.
Okay.
Highly recommend it. But I just love to get an awesome little pretzel dog from one of those little spots where it's like they awesome, kind of like you can't find it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And so I'll go with pretzels from Adams Market.
Okay. You're definitely from PA. That's sure. I feel the same way. But I see, and I'm saying this respectfully, when I see the Amish people, I gotta get the food. I'm looking for whatever they'll have offer.
Yeah, it's like, dude, like pie, give me what? Yeah, it's sir, back up. I'm just.
Yeah, that's a PA thing for sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we're heading into what I call the quote battle. In the quote battle, me and my interviewee will be going back and forth for 3 rounds. Each of us will have a quote per round, and we want you all to leave a comment to tell us who had the best quote or who won the battle altogether.
Round 1.
I have learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear. Knowing what must be done does away with fear. Rosa Parks.
Golly.
Rosa Parks. Rest in peace, Rosa Parks.
All right, I'm gonna hit. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Philosopher Seneca.
Okay. Snap it up for Philosopher Seneca. Old school. I see it. Okay.
Round 2.
Every great dream begins with a dreamer. Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world. Harriet Tubman. I'm turning it up a little bit. I'm turning it up a little bit.
All right. Okay.
Reach for the stars. Harriet Tubman.
I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou.
Okay. All right, this is a good one. Okay. All right.
Final round.
I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life. And that's why I succeed. Michael Jordan.
All right, well done. And a strong one, huh? All right. A little nonsense now and then is relished by the wisest men. Willy Wonka.
Okay, Willy Wonka. Okay, with the Willy Wonka.
I played in one of the favorite movies. Don't take yourself too seriously.
All right, appreciate that. Good job with the
That's fun.
the quote battle. What are you watching on Netflix or any of the streaming channels? Anything in particular?
Yeah, so we're trying to do the whole electronics lighthouse for now with the little one with Oliver. Okay, it's tough as I'm going through withdrawal. But so Reacher was the last thing I watched. I don't know if you've seen the kind of Reacher where it's like a big hooking guy on through busting things up. That's been a fun one, so it's a welcome distraction. A lot of my books are nonfiction, kind of going for things which are helping you or doing something with your brain.
Right.
It's nice to just let loose and hang out.
Okay. Any podcasts you're listening to?
Yeah, so I spoke about that book earlier, Set for Life. There's a podcast, Bigger Pockets has a series of podcasts, and I'm sure it's probably mentioned before, or you may be familiar, but Bigger Pockets Money Podcast. So financial literacy is extremely important to me, especially for those who are in our space, and especially for those who look like us as well.
Yeah.
And I think that podcast is a great job. Even just driving up from DC today, I was listening to the podcast.
Which one again?
Bigger Pockets, the Money Podcast.
The Money Podcast. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good to definitely emphasize that one.
Yes, all of them are good. So the main ones, I do the real estate one, the real estate rookies, but the money podcast is one of my favorites.
Okay. Shout out to Bigger Podcast. Bigger Podcast. They should. She's not the dog. Yeah, this is relevant. Okay. And the 3 most influential people in your life.
So the 3 individuals most influential for me would be my wife, Kira, my number 1 top billing. She's been awesome, always has stood by my side and has helped get me to where I am, right? Both personally and professionally, right? I wouldn't have Oliver without her. We wouldn't be able to be raising this beautiful little baby boy together.
Right.
And she's challenged me and helped me really get to those heights. Next one, probably be my mom, 100%. So as I said before, essentially single parent household. Mom held down the fort, was absolutely awesome. So Felita Joe Boswell, VJB, absolutely awesome.
BJB, shout out to BJB.
Shout out to VJB.
And what's your wife's name again?
And my wife, Kira.
Kira.
Shout out to Kira. Yep, shout out to Kira. And the last one would be all my siblings, but my brother, my twin brother, David, was my best friend growing up. And kind of, we had a little bit of that rivalry, but we'd keep each other going, right?
Sure.
Along the track. So he helped get me to adulthood where Kira probably helped take the reins and help me proceed to where I am.
Right. And his name again?
David.
Shout out to David.
Shout out to Dave.
Yeah, for sure. All right, the last question I end this interview on is, if you had to give, if you can go back in time, way back, you could pick. You could pick the Westchester days. You could pick, Penn State days. Whenever you meet your younger self, at that point in time when you meet them, what advice would you give them? You say, "Hey, Carl, got to tell you something, man." What would you say?
Yeah, I thought about this a lot, actually, different occasions, because it's a popular question that people ask themselves. I would go back probably to high school, Carl.
Okay.
It could be it could be Carl from yesterday, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And I'd tell them they chose you, right? So they chose you. And who could they be? You could insert whoever, right? But it could be they chose you for that job, or it was Kira, your significant other chose you, right?
Okay.
And I think that's extremely impactful, because I think a lot of us, many times we're walking around and you get a little bit of that imposter syndrome. You might not see many people who have done what you've done in your personal life, or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
And I think that they chose you reminds you, you belong here. You're at the table, you have that seat and your voice that should be heard.
Right.
And so I think that's a big one.
Wow, man. They chose you. That's a good one, man. That's a good one. That's deep. Snap it up. For they chose. Let's get those words on the screen. They chose you. All right, Carver. So got one more question to ask you. Shout out some of the folks that have been super influential in your career as a professional.
Yeah. I would go back to one of those individuals who was a mentor and a stakeholder back of my time in Boston at Wellington Management. Jason Kirby, awesome guy. His brother who looks like you and me, who was making his way up. He was on his arc in the middle of his career when I was just coming into Wellington Management. And he kind of took me under his wing, showed me what needed to be done to grow both personally and professionally. And that was important. And I left Wellington behind, right?
Right.
But even when I'm up in Boston, I always feel like I'm welcome back there and to see him. So crazy impact.
Right.
Yeah, he'd be a big one.
Okay. Awesome, man. Well, Carl, thanks a lot for joining me, man. I really do appreciate it. You driving up here from DC to Philly, somewhat of your hometown as well. So it's a return back home, man. Thank you so much for giving me your time, doing an interview with me. We appreciate you. Where can people reach out to you if they want to contact you for any advice or any information?
Yeah. LinkedIn. So yeah, feel free to reach out. Always happy to talk. It's been so much fun. I love this platform, what you're doing here. So I'm sure we'll connect on some other projects too.
Yeah. Appreciate you, man.
All right. And that Penn State game too, right? Yeah, Penn State, yeah.